like from Causey there?
He was great, kind of a few moments of adversity. It's not easy to stand up there. It obviously affects what the ball's doing for a hitter when he hits it, but when it's that windy, it's not that easy to deal with. And then they took some good swings. They also battled a couple times. We did make some good plays defensively, but there was also a play or two that we didn't make behind them. A couple moments where, he wants to celebrate, or his teammates want to celebrate getting a guy out, and it doesn't happen. So you got to get right back to work. So I think just kind of those blips on the radar screen of adversity were huge, but there wasn't that many of them. They were, like I said, blips kind of sprinkled in amongst some really good pitching.
I know you like that arm angle out of the bullpen to start the year, but now at this point, a couple starts, does it maybe creep into your mind being difficult to pull him out of the rotation?
Yeah, I think, the game will kind of dictate or give you the information of who you are as an individual and as a team. And I think he already knew, and we did too, that he's fully capable of being a starter. It's going to be a matter of what's best for the team. And sometimes stuff happens where if a guy's sore, you use a guy in a certain situation, Thursday games, they start mixing those in. That's when I think we first started Crochet one year, however it worked out. So there'll be different things that can happen, but if we're going to have the type of season that we want to have, he's going to need to continue to start for us, but also be willing to come in and probably get some guys out in a different situation as well.
Tony, I remember like with Doe last year and Beam this year. Do you kind of prioritize that Saturday spot maybe more than some other coaches?
We've argued up in the office before, and it is important. I mean, it's in the middle of the weekend, and the one game in front of you is the most important one. But I think what you need is you'd like to have a guy that's a solid starter in that day two deal, where you can log some innings, and it's not a guy whose pitch count's going to jump up there real quick like some guys can. I've coached various guys. No one pops into mind immediately, but some guys' pitch count can jump real quick on you. And fortunately with Causey and Beam now, because Causey's more of a ground ball guy, and Beam has certainly done his thing for us, you'd like to think you know what you're looking at with innings you have to cover with the bullpen.
Ideally, what would the Friday starter look like?
A big leaguer? Nah, there's been outliers, but I think, a Friday starter, if you were to have a blueprint, would be a guy that's physical enough to withstand the grind of the entire season, and he has quarterback-type presence like Beam does, and then you'd like a guy that has 3 pitches for a strike and for strikes. And then in our league, you gotta have big stuff, and that doesn't mean it's got to be loud on the radar gun, big stuff. But you got to have something unique that you can throw at guys where it's not an easy, repetitive look to pick up, because there's so much scouting info now, and these hitters are obviously talented and strong.
You mentioned adversity with AJ, but I feel like Binky had some of that too, with some soft hit singles and the air behind him. Just kind of what made him good in those situations.
I think all the days leading up to this one, he's a hard worker, man. He's in really good shape. He kind of had to fight for, everything he's gotten since he's been here. I mean, we recruited him and wanted him to be here, but he hasn't been handed anything. And he was a guy last year, if you look back, I don't know what his first appearance was, but he was one of those guys in the office, not disrespectfully, but, just confidently sitting there saying, I want to pitch, and I can pitch. And again, the information we were getting with each time he got on the mound was there's this consistent improvement. And that certainly has carried on this year as well. So it's kind of fun to see that evolution of him as a pitcher. And, same thing, he's a great personality, but it took us about a whole semester to figure out that he had one, because he does everything kind of quiet. I guess he's our sneak attack guy.
Several times this year, it feels like you give up a run or two early and then bounce right back. Feels like these guys have great resiliency. Have you noticed that from your team?
Yeah, no, I think so. And you got to have the ability to back it up. So fortunately, we're surrounded by some guys that are highly skilled, but something goes wrong, it's either motivation or it's a detriment to your body language, your thought process, the scoreboard, everything else. And you do it enough times, and our guys have now collected a handful of them. You do it enough times, it almost kind of becomes an automatic response. Kind of like, this didn't go well, back out there. I know great defenses in football, it's like a turnover on offense. It's almost like it's a good thing. We get to be back out there and show what we can do and get another stop under not just regular circumstances, but adverse ones. So hopefully those reps will keep piling up, but I really do think it kind of plays into the mindset thing, and we're blessed with some leaders that I think know what works and what doesn't, and they've veered in that direction of what works as of late.
How is Cal a different hitter this year? What did you all stress to him as a coaching staff over the offseason?
You know, I think there was just numerous talks. There wasn't any one talk, just numerous talks about getting better and, you know, certain situations, how to attack, and then in here, a bunch of different swings, and he had a much better fall. I think part of it is just knowing what it all looks like, because he played at a great junior college and played at a high level and had success, but this is a little bit different. And so just knowing the landscape, I think, is the big thing, and then raising the standards a little bit in certain situations. So it's been a whole body of work, and I think that's still in progress too, but the more he consistently does that, the more he shows guys who I'm not doing their job for them, but it'd be a pretty good one to have around your pitchers, especially if he shows he's swinging the bat better like he is right now.
What's the biggest difference you've seen in Dylan from compared to last season?
Just more comfortable. He came in, you know, after the summer period. These freshmen now in football, I know they'll come over a semester early. Our guys come in the summer. They get to know Q, and their eyes are pretty wide open when that happens. They get to know campus. Well, Dylan's playing for his family in a college league up in there in Hayes, Kansas, which is great baseball. But I think he missed out on a little bit of getting settled in and some comfortability here. And now it's totally different. I mean, he knows the coaching staff, he knows his teammates, he knows himself. Again, yet another guy that's benefiting from knowing what the landscape looks like of Division I baseball and our league. But he's always had kind of the same swing, some explosiveness. I would say maybe the more direct answer, immediate answer, just one thing is his physicality. I mean, he's really gotten strong to the point where Q would say it under his breath, but grabbed us a few times in the fall, and so that dude's getting pretty strong, and you can see it.
Feels like you've settled into the top of the lineup a little bit. What would the questions that you still have, you guys are still trying to figure out about the lineup and the everyday starters?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's always going to be availability to sneak in there. I mean, as much as you maybe feel like the door's closed as a pitcher or a hitter, and this could be in any program, it's open if you keep working. You kind of trust the process is a cliche for a reason, but then you start complaining or you get down or you change things, you try and do something drastic, you try and be Superman when you're out there. It's not, but if you just keep drilling like Benke has, it'll go in your favor. And for some guys it happens like real quick, and other guys it's a little bit more of a process. But there's availability there, and there's some guys too that need to realize the coach is right or wrong. I don't know how you rank. I don't know what our group ACT would be if you took all of our coaches. I know what my minor contribution would be, but we got a little thing we're looking for, and we're going off that more than the results. So if you're constantly off the end of the bat, it kind of drives us crazy. And Blake Burke probably got cheated on some at-bats freshman year, but he was just running at the ball too quick, and we don't like seeing that. And he finally calmed down a little bit and started launching some balls as a freshman, you know, talented lineup. But, you know, we're just kind of going off what makes us feel good. You guys are the same way because, you know, you cover us, but you guys got orange on. Your local media, you should have local colors on. But I assume you're wanting the Vols to do well, and there's certain things that make you feel comfortable, you know, in certain situations. If Zakai's guarding a guy defensively, you feel comfortable. And so that's what we're looking for out of guys, and I think there's always going to be some variance in there, but we have kind of started to figure out who's in that top 4 or 5.
Thank you, Tony.
Yeah.
Thanks, Tony.
Thank you all.